After 22 long years of service, Sergeant Michael Turner finally returned to his quiet suburban neighborhood in Willow Creek. His right leg, lost to an IED explosion overseas, was replaced by a prosthetic, but his spirit, strong, calm, and resilient, remained unbroken. The town threw him a small welcome party, neighbors smiling and shaking his hand. Everyone, that is, except Karen Matthews. Karen was the self-proclaimed Queen of the Willow Creek HOA. Her clipboard was practically glued to her hand, and she never missed a chance to remind others of the rules. When Michael began installing a wheelchair ramp at the front of his modest home, Karen appeared out of nowhere, like a storm cloud ready to rain complaints. "Excuse me?" she called, marching up the driveway in her crisp blouse and oversized sunglasses. "You can't just put that thing on your house without HOA approval?" Michael paused, gripping his hammer. "It's not a thing, Karen, it's a ramp. I need it to get into my house." She crossed her arms. "That's not my problem. This neighborhood has aesthetic standards. That ramp will ruin the look of your property and the entire street." A few of the neighbors who had once greeted Michael now glanced nervously from their porches, unsure whether to speak up. Karen's voice grew louder. "You can't just break the rules because you're a—" She caught herself. "A special case." Michael clenched his jaw. "I followed every guideline I could." "It's temporary until I recover fully," Karen scoffed. "Temporary or not, it's an eyesore. I'll be reporting this to the board immediately." That night, Michael received a formal HOA notice on his door. Violation of aesthetic standards, unauthorized modification of property. His daughter, Lily, barely 12, found him sitting on the porch, shoulders heavy. "Dad, why are they mad about your ramp?" He sighed. "Some people don't understand, sweetheart, but we'll handle it." Karen didn't stop there. The next morning, she took photos of the ramp, sending them to every HOA member with the subject line, "A disgrace to our neighborhood." Within days, rumors spread. Some neighbors whispered that Michael was getting special treatment, while others quietly sympathized. But when word reached City Hall and the mayor himself learned that a decorated veteran was being harassed for building a ramp, everything began to change. The mayor made a call. "I think it's time." Willow Creek had a little talk about respect and maybe a visit from me. A crisp autumn breeze swept through Willow Creek. As word spread, the mayor himself was coming to the next HOA meeting. The residents buzzed with curiosity and tension. Some thought it was just gossip. But when a black town car pulled up in front of the clubhouse that evening, and Mayor Evelyn Grant stepped out, the whispers died instantly. Inside, Karen sat at the head of the HOA table, arms folded, chin high. The walls were lined with framed pictures of smiling families and neatly trimmed lawns, the ideal Willow Creek image she so desperately tried to protect. Michael arrived quietly, using his ramp-free crutches after Karen's threats made him halt construction. Lily sat beside him, holding his hand tightly. Karen's shrill voice cut through the murmurs. "Let's bring this meeting to order. First topic, unauthorized modifications to property number 26, belonging to Mr. Michael Turner." She said his name like it was a crime. Michael opened his mouth to speak, but the mayor raised a hand. "Before anyone continues, I'd like to understand what exactly is going on here." Karen straightened up, trying to sound professional. "Your Honor, we have strict community guidelines. Mr. Turner built a ramp without submitting proper paperwork. It's unsightly and, well, brings down the appearance of the neighborhood." Mayor Grant's eyes narrowed. "Unsightly? You're referring to an accessibility ramp?" Karen hesitated. "Yes, we have to maintain standards." The mayor's tone cooled. "Do you know why he needs that ramp?" Karen waved her hand dismissively. "I heard something about military service, but rules are rules." The mayor leaned forward. "Sergeant Turner lost his leg serving this country. That ramp isn't decoration, it's his independence." The room fell silent. Several neighbors looked down in shame. Michael spoke softly. "I wasn't trying to break rules. I just wanted to come home to live normally." Karen's jaw tightened. "We can't make exceptions for everyone. If we start bending rules, the whole community falls apart." The mayor stood, voice firm now. "Karen, what tears communities apart is forgetting why rules exist, to help people, not hurt them." A murmur of agreement rippled through the room. Mrs. Alvarez from next door spoke up. "He deserves that ramp, Karen. We all do better when we help each other." For the first time, Karen looked uneasy. The mayor turned to Michael. "Sergeant Turner, I'll personally see that your ramp stays. And we'll review these HOA policies. They clearly need humanity added back in." Karen's face flushed crimson as the room applauded. But deep down, something darker brewed behind her forced smile. Karen wasn't done yet. The morning after the mayor's visit, Willow Creek felt different. Neighbors waved at Michael again. Some even offered to help rebuild the ramp, while others brought home-cooked meals for him and Lily. For the first time since returning, Michael felt like he truly belonged. But Karen Matthews wasn't about to let her authority slip away that easily. Behind her polite smiles and pastel sweaters, resentment burned hot. She spent the next few days scheming. To her, Michael had humiliated her in front of the entire HOA and the mayor. She was determined to make him pay. Late one evening, she sent an email blast to the HOA board. "It has come to my attention that the mayor's visit may have been based on false assumptions. We must ensure Sergeant Turner's ramp meets safety and design codes before allowing it." Then she went further. Karen began calling the county's building inspector, reporting hazardous construction at Michael's address. She even snapped new photos, this time from across the street, zooming in on every nail and angle of the half-finished ramp. 2 days later, a white government truck rolled up in front of Michael's home. The inspector, clipboard in hand, looked confused. "Sir, we received a report about an unsafe ramp?" Michael sighed. "Let me guess, Karen Matthews?" The man chuckled. "Seems like everyone knows her name." After a quick look, he smiled. "Everything here meets code. Mr. Turner, whoever reported this was wasting everyone's time." When Karen saw the inspector leaving without shutting down construction, she stormed outside. "Excuse me, I demand to know the results of your inspection." The inspector frowned. "Ma'am, everything is fine. You should be proud to have a neighbor who takes such care with his property." Karen's eyes narrowed. "Proud of that thing?" The inspector gave her a look of disbelief. "Ma'am, that thing helps a veteran walk into his home. You might want to reconsider your priorities." The neighborhood started whispering again, but this time about Karen. Memes popped up in the local Facebook group, HOA Karen versus the hero. Someone even drew a cartoon of her holding a clipboard while Michael saluted her mockingly. Her control over the HOA began to crumble. Board members ignored her emails, neighbors avoided her, and the mayor's office had started reviewing her behavior formally. Still, Karen wouldn't back down. One night, standing in her living room, she muttered, "If the HOA won't act, I'll take matters into my own hands." The next morning, when Michael stepped outside, he froze. His ramp was gone. Torn apart, every plank scattered across the lawn. Karen had just crossed the line. The sound of hammering had been replaced by silence. Michael stood frozen on his front lawn, staring at the broken wood scattered like bones. The ramp, his symbol of freedom, lay in ruins. Lily ran out behind him, tears filling her eyes. "Dad, who did this?" He didn't answer. He didn't need to. Across the street, Karen stood on her porch, arms folded, sipping coffee with a smug little smile. Michael's fists tightened, but years of discipline kept his temper in check. Instead, he took photos of the damage and called the police. Within 20 minutes, 2 officers arrived. Karen's smirk vanished the moment she saw the flashing lights. One officer, a young woman named Officer Ramirez, walked up to Michael. "Sir, we'll take it from here. Do you know who might have done this?" Michael looked toward Karen's house. "Let's just say she's been very vocal about not liking ramps." Karen stepped forward quickly, feigning innocence. "Oh, please! I had nothing to do with this. Maybe some kids did it as a prank." "You can't just accuse me without proof!" Officer Ramirez remained calm. "Actually, ma'am, we'll check the neighborhood cameras. Many houses here have doorbell footage." Karen's eyes widened. "Cameras?" An hour later, the officers returned, with clear video from the Alvarez family's security system. There she was in her pink robe, dragging a hammer across the ramp, smashing each plank in the dead of night. The officers approached her home. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for property destruction and harassment." Karen's voice cracked. "This is insane! I was protecting the neighborhood's image." But the image she'd fought so hard to protect shattered that day. Neighbors gathered on their porches, watching as she was led to the police car. Phones recorded. The same woman who once ruled with a clipboard was now being driven away, red-faced and trembling. The next afternoon, the mayor herself returned to Willow Creek. She stood beside Michael as volunteers rebuilt the ramp, this time stronger, safer, and permanent. Reporters covered the story, calling it a veteran's victory over HOA abuse. Mayor Grant placed a hand on Michael's shoulder. You didn't just stand up for yourself, you stood up for everyone who's ever been bullied by power-hungry rules. Michael smiled softly. I just wanted to live peacefully. I didn't want revenge. The mayor looked at the new ramp, sunlight glinting off its railings. Sometimes justice doesn't need revenge, it just needs courage. As neighbors cheered, Lily ran up the ramp laughing. Michael followed slowly, tears welling in his eyes. For the first time since coming home, he felt whole again. Across the street, Karen's house sat dark and silent. The clipboard queen of Willow Creek was gone, and respect had finally returned.